Liz Cheney has fallen apart. She's literally going nuts. She's accusing the top leadership of the GOP of being pro-Putin, and now she's scared to death of having Trump testify before the J6 committee on live TV. We're going to see for ourselves just how much Cheney is melting down and what her soon-to-be absence from power means for the future of the Republican leadership. You are not going to want to miss this. Liz Cheney was on Meet the Depressed yesterday. In fact, they were so depressed that Chuck Todd actually devoted a full third of his show to this failed, miserable swamp creature. And it didn't take long to find out that her temper tantrums against Trump are now extending to more and more people. Here's Cheney's take on the presumed Republican Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy. You're not going to believe it.
Let's talk about a Speaker, Kevin McCarthy. You clearly think this is a mistake. That he will, you are concerned about his speakership. What specifically concerns you?
Well, look, the Speaker is second in line to the presidency. And at every moment since, frankly, the aftermath of the election in 2020, when Minority Leader McCarthy has had the opportunity to do the right thing or do something that serves his own political purpose, he always chooses to serve his own political purpose. And, you know, that extends to what we've seen just in the last few days with these comments about aid to Ukraine. The idea that somehow the party is now no longer going to support the Ukrainian people, which, you know, for somebody who has a picture of Ronald Reagan on the wall of his office in the Capitol, the notion that now Kevin McCarthy is going to make himself the leader of the pro-Putin wing of my party is just a stunning thing. It's dangerous. He knows better. But the fact that he's willing to go down the path of suggesting that America will no longer stand for freedom, I think tells you he's willing to sacrifice everything for his own political gain.
So now, according to Cheney, Kevin McCarthy is the de facto head of the so-called pro-Putin wing of her party. And what, pray tell, was Kevin McCarthy's crime? What, pray tell, pro-Putin activity was McCarthy caught red-handed in? Well, he had the audacity to come out and suggest, that's the key, suggest that a Republican-led House would probably stop writing blank checks to Ukraine. That, my friend, is clearly, at least in the twisted world of Liz Cheney, that is clearly a pro-Kremlin shill. That's pure Putin propaganda right there, boy. It don't get worse than that. I think McCarthy, when he said that, I bet he even had a bit of a Russian accent when he said it. I mean, this woman is utterly delusional. Forget what she said about McCarthy. The entire notion that this woman who lost her primary election by over 40 points, the notion that this woman has any serious contribution to make to the Republican Party is beyond absurd. That's not hyperbole. Chuck Todd of Meet the Depressed demonstrated there in his interview that both he and Cheney are simply not in touch with reality. They're literally living inside their own simulated, fabricated narratives that have no correlation to what actually exists. But if that weren't bad enough, wait till you see what else she had to say. It's beyond belief. But first, gang, we take care of each other here on this channel, and our good friends over at Goldco are here to help you protect your savings in the midst of all this economic insanity with the timeless values of gold and silver. Make sure to click on that link below and see how you can get upwards of $10,000 of free silver if you open up an account with them. But that is a limited time offer, so don't wait. Click on the link below right now and keep your assets safe with the timeless value of gold. Another example of Cheney's reprieve from reality happened the other day when she said that under no uncertain terms would she ever allow President Trump to testify before the J6 committee on live TV. I kid you not, after all the cinematic fanfare, you know, we're subpoenaing Trump to get the truth out of him once and for all. After all of that, but it's got to be done behind closed doors. I mean, Trump is laughing. Trump is like, you want me to testify in front of you clowns? Bring it on. It'll be the highest rated television moment in history. Let's do it. And what does Cheney do? No, you can't. And she runs away and hides. Fox News' Brit Hume had a masterful response to all this. He quoted Cheney saying that she wasn't going to allow Trump to turn the January 6th committee into a, quote, circus. Hume responded with three brilliant words. says the ringmaster. The ringmaster. That's so perfect. That's a perfect description of Liz Cheney. Cheney is the director of the circus. That's what she is. She's the chief clown. Someone tweeted out that Trump should bring a box of clown noses for the committee if or when he comes in to testify. That would be utterly amazing. But clearly, as you can see, no one but the most adamant and frankly depressed Democrat takes Liz Cheney seriously at this point. Molly Hemingway over at The Federalist had a great piece out entitled, "Liz Cheney's Plan to Divide the Republican Party has Failed." It's a very interesting piece because what it does is it shows how Republican leadership over the last few decades has learned to benefit itself off of the Democrat dominance in Washington, D.C. and American politics in general. And this is a dominance, as I understand it, that came largely from the FDR era, where Roosevelt really did recalibrate federal politics around big labor, big business, and big government. And what Republicans have had to do is they've had to adjust themselves as, in effect, the conservative form of this coalition. So that's what neocons are. They're former Democrats who jumped ship post-1991 after the fall of the Soviet Union because they thought a hawkish, warmongering Republican Party would be much more conducive to their goals of implementing a Pax Americana over the world, exploiting and leveraging this moment when America had become the world's sole superpower. They thought the Democrats were clueless on this. So the Republican leadership gained a foothold, a very strong foothold in Democrat-dominated D.C., and this is key, as the neocon party. That's how they became respectable within the culture of D.C., and that's how D.C. money started making its way into the coffers of neocon politicians and advisors and administrators. Obviously, what's happened of late is that there's been a massive backlash against the permanent political class represented by both parties. And so Molly Hemingway, the Federalist, makes the point that this D.C.-based partnership between Democrats and rhinos has, up until this point, been relatively successful in marginalizing and effectively dismissing these populist uprisings as extremist and kooky and dangerous. This is exactly, by the way, what they're trying to do to Doug Mastriano right now in Pennsylvania. You may have heard that the snake Karl Rove is behind a bunch of ads that are tacitly demonizing Mastriano and trying to get the liberal Democrat Josh Shapiro elected as governor. Rove is actively attempting to defeat an ultra-MAGA Republican by financially supporting a radical, woke, leftist Democrat who's been an abject disaster as the Attorney General for Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania violent crime is skyrocketing, particularly in Philadelphia. It's absolutely insane. But again, the point here is that they're all on the same team. Democrats and neocons support one another as they both try to achieve the same globalist ends in their own relatively unique ways. What Hemingway is noting here in this article is that the populist revolt is so strong now that any attempt to marginalize and demonize it isn't working anymore. And for Hemingway, that's where the J6 committee came in. It was basically a warning by Liz Cheney to the whole of the Republican leadership, you better stay away from any and all ultra-MAGA candidates. The verdict that we, of course, already reached before even starting the hearings is going to apply to all ultra-MAGA supporters. So stay clear, keep your distance. And what Hemingway points out is a significant amount of the Republican leadership is clearly ignoring those warnings. So you've had Senators Tim Scott, Ted Cruz come out in Ohio to campaign for J.D. Vance. You've had Senator Rick Scott campaigning on behalf of Herschel Walker in Georgia. Governor Glenn Youngkin in Virginia came out to Arizona, endorsed Kerry Lake. And to make matters even worse for the permanent political class, even former Democrats now are coming out and endorsing the ultra-MAGA candidates. Tulsi Gabbard is going full MAGA. She's been endorsing MAGA candidates left and right. So it really does look like the days of the neocons are coming to an end. The Republican leadership is going to start looking very differently after the midterms than it ever has before. And nothing will symbolize that change in leadership more than the permanent absence of one Liz Cheney. As always, make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. And you will definitely want to check out my latest video on some huge election news that's just rocked the Dr. Oz Fetterman race in Pennsylvania. You're not going to want to miss it. So make sure to click on that link, and I will see you over there. God bless.